So I want to thank you for joining us. Today we have one of my best of friends, colleagues. She works with me in our choice program. She is just, you know, somebody that I enjoy spending time with and I enjoy being around because of her enthusiasm, her drive, and when she speaks, I tell you, it even ignites me to even speak more and better. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce my friend, Miss Beatrice Bruno, the drill sergeant of life. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. It's so good to see you, Mike, and it's good to be here today. And I'm just excited, dude.
I always love talking to you, and I always love seeing you. You know that already. And just for the audience's sake, you know, we met. God, I'm not sure how about
2011.
Okay, 2011, 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and we didn't know why. You know, God put us together. We knew it was something, but we didn't know what it was at that time.
That's right.
And it took a couple of years for it to develop and manifest itself. So now, Miss Bruno, the drill sergeant of life, she's a part of the choice program, which is our kindergarten through 12th grade program. And in the past, we did it just for boys, but I had a lot of girls asking for us to do it for them. But I'm like, I'm not doing that. So here comes Miss Bruno, Mrs. Bruno, excuse me, and she has taken over the girls' part of the choice program. And you know, we mix it together at the current school we have the boys and the girls mixed together. But it's really amazing how she has brought those kids together, how she has made them say, even and didn't make them. She's got them saying, I love you, when they told us they
That's
would
right.
never say that.
I don't love anybody. I don't want anybody telling me they love me.
Oh.
It's weird when people tell me they love me. And now they say, love you.
Yep. Give us a hug when we
Yes.
leave.
Yes.
It runs up to her when she shows up.
Yes.
And it's amazing how, you know, you can touch these kids' hearts.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, but I want the audience, first of all, to know who you are and what you do. I know you're the drill sergeant of life, but you are a motivational, inspirational speaker.
Yes.
You're an author. You have a series of books.
Yes.
You are a mother. You are a previous drill sergeant in the Army.
Yes.
A singer in the Army
Yes.
as well. And really, I know the list goes on and on. I was trying to remember. I was like, okay, I know there's something else I'm missing.
Oh my gosh. I've done some of everything, Mike. I spent 15 years in the Army, active duty. 4 of those years, I was a singer with the United States Army Europe Band and Chorus over in Germany. We sang all over Europe. And then the last 2 years of my military career, I was a drill sergeant at Fort Dix, New Jersey. 2 of the best years of my life. I love training soldiers. I love getting them in basic training and bringing them to the place where they needed to be soldiers.
Yeah.
And you know, some of those same soldiers, I'm hearing from them now. It's been 30 years since this one group went through in 1988. And I have 1 first sergeant. No, I'm sorry, I have 2 first sergeants, 1 staff sergeant, a sergeant first class, 1 is a millionaire.
Ooh.
And these are all soldiers that I trained 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're coming back into my life. And like I said, it was one of the greatest moments in my military career. And now, when I got out, I was a truck driver. I was an insurance salesperson. I was a beautician.
Oh,
okay,
really?
yes, a beautician, not a magician. Some of those folk that came to me, they wanted to look a certain way. We're not going to get that today. You cannot look like Beyonce or Halle Berry, okay? Because you're just not going to. I was a beautician, not a magician. And it was fun. It was interesting, but it was fun. But then God started pulling on my coattail to write books. And I didn't see that in me, even though when I went to college and the things that I did in college, I loved writing. I've always loved writing from a child. And I was also a reader. I loved reading books. But when God said, you're a writer, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, and that's the amazing part. And I'm, when I think about you, and she's also a minister, just in case you haven't
Yes.
picked that up. But it was, I wish I had went into the army like you did and did the singing. Yeah. One of the dumbest things I didn't do in my life, I decided I wanted to go to college and major in music, but man, I wish I had went into the military and just did music, and man, that would have been great. But I know it's when I look at when God say, write this, write that, and I'm like, I'm not a writer, but I've written some things and I'm like, okay, that's not too bad. So it's kind of what we tell the kids.
Yeah.
Don't say what you can or cannot do.
That's right.
You have to try it and keep trying.
That's right.
And you'll be amazed at what you can do.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, one of the guys that I sang with, this was an after-work group. We were at Fort Dix, New Jersey. And we had a singing group, and I just dug up some pictures from back then. That was in 1989, 89 or 90. And he is a driver for the professional football teams on the East Coast.
Oh.
But he sings the national anthem at the games.
Oh, really?
Okay.
That's on my bucket list.
Okay. He's doing it. His name is Al Norfleet. And he is singing the national anthem for these professional football games. Yes. And so, see, we had so many opportunities while serving as soldiers in the Army.
Yeah.
And many of the folks that I served with, they're still doing stuff out there in the singing world.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Everett Strawn, he's a singer. He has this, he sings in nightclubs and stuff, but he's also an actor. Okay? Doing movies, and all this stuff. And so we got those gifts and talents and we used them in the military, but now we're using them out here.
Yeah.
And so now I'm using that talent as a writer. And I'm really excited about that. I'm getting ready to go to the Writers Police Academy in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And it's like, let me see, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's a 4-day course. We get to do the ride-alongs, get to see all the different weapons.
Oh, really?
And yeah, it's for mystery writers.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm getting ready to do that, and I am ecstatic. I really am, because this is something that's just crazy to me. I get to go and talk to the coroners and all this stuff, and learn about the different weapons, what they will do, and all these different forensic things.
Yeah.
Because I like to write thrillers. I like to write mysteries.
Yeah, I like mysteries, but I don't know. I just kind of write from my heart, whatever's put on my heart to do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to. I know today we're going to talk about the reality of life without a father, and that's something that is dear to my heart, and I know you know it well in more ways than one.
Yeah.
But I know as a minister, but your books are, before we get into that, your books are Get Over Yourself, or
How to Get Over Yourself, Get Out of Your Own Way, and Get What You Want Out of Life.
Yeah.
And How to Get Over Yourself and Let Go of the Past. Those are my motivational titles.
And they can find those books on
DrillSergeantOfLife.com or Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and at the end of the show, we'll have Beatrice's information and contact information of where her books are as well.
Absolutely.
So, but we've got to take a quick break, and I knew that was coming because it always screws me when I get to the first segment of the show. Is like I do the introduction, next thing I know, we're going to the break. So that's why I wanted to get into the title real quick, The Reality of a Life Without a Father. And you are watching The Father Show with our special guest, Miss Beatrice Bruno, the Drill Sergeant of Life. And we're going to be talking about the effects of fatherlessness in a child's life. And she knows it personally as well. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Matter of fact, tell somebody else to come join you and to watch Mrs. Bruno and hear her story, because it's going to be fantastic. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and you are watching The Father Show. I appreciate you tuning in. Today we have Mrs. Bruno, my friend, my great friend, and she's a motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, and she talks about getting out of your own way and getting what you want out of life. And it's fantastic to hear her speak. She's a veteran. And I know you speak a lot of times to the veterans.
Yes.
But today we're going to be talking about the effect, the reality of the effect of a fatherlessness home.
Yes.
And it doesn't, we hear a lot about little boys and how they need their father. But women, girls,
Absolutely.
need their father just as much as a little boy.
Absolutely.
In a different way, needless to say.
Yeah.
But they still need their father.
Yes.
And I want you to kind of tell the audience your story first before we kind of dive into this.
Well, I'm going to bring you up to date. I'm going to bring you to 2016, then I'm going to go back to about 1972,
Don't date
73.
yourself
Oh. Look, I'm glad to be 57 years old. I made it. But just recently, my oldest sister, we didn't grow up together.
Mm-hmm.
We have the same dad who was not in either of our households.
Okay.
Okay. Just recently, she and I were talking, and she brought up our grandfather. I didn't know that he had been in a drum and bugle corps when we were little kids. And I used to be a majorette. I used to, do the baton and all that stuff, but he was a drummer. Okay, now, take that back to about 1984, and I was stationed over in Germany, and I was messing around with this guy who was a drummer with the band, the Army band that I was assigned to.
Yeah.
And I was just enthralled with his drumming, and I mean, it was just something about him, and it just drew me, okay? Now, take it back all the way to 1972.
Mm-hmm.
That's when my granddad, my hero, he was the apple of my eye. I loved this man because he loved me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this man taught me to drive when I was 9 years old, because I've always been taught. He taught me to drive when I was 9 years old. Everywhere he went, I was with him. He died when I was in 1972 when I was 13 years old.
Mm.
Now, his son, my dad,
Yeah.
he was not in the picture at all. He was not in the picture of my sister. Okay?
Now, was he a part? Your dad? He had his dad, your grandfather.
Yes.
So he didn't grow up without a father.
No. No, he did not. When he graduated from high school, he went into the Army for 3 years. Okay, and then when he came back, he decided to go to New York and just cat around. Okay, and y'all know what catting around is.
Yeah,
okay,
doing his thing.
Doing his thing. And he had married my oldest sister's mom.
Okay.
They stayed married for a hot second, and he decided that he wanted to go cat around.
Mm-hmm.
So, but see, she had uncles in her life that weren't necessarily her dad, but she had these men figures.
Man, role model.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When my granddaddy passed away, I didn't have that. So that took me on a path of self-destruction, Mike.
Yeah.
It really did. Because I didn't know the importance of having a father in the home.
Mm-hmm.
So when he passed away, when I was just, no.
13.
Yeah. Well, I'm just approaching teenage years.
Yeah.
And he's gone. And so I'm looking for love in all the wrong places because Daddy was gone. He was the only man that loved me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So bring that up to 84, 85, when this guy, he's married, he's got kids, but he's a drummer. And I'm identifying him, and I didn't know it, with my granddaddy.
Right.
Because my granddaddy was just a powerful person in my life.
Yeah.
So when my sister told me that Daddy, that's what we always called him, that Daddy had been a drummer, my mind immediately clicked over to why I was so self-destructive as a young woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because I missed that man.
Yeah.
I missed having him in my life.
Yeah.
And so why am I bringing this up today? It's because young women don't know the power of the daddy in the household. And when that's missing, see, the mama doesn't even know that.
Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Okay?
Yeah.
The mama doesn't know the power of the absence of the daddy in the household. And so while the mama is going out trying to get this boyfriend and that boyfriend and telling the daughter, well, just call him uncle. No! That's messing that baby's mind up.
Yeah.
We can't even, uncle, wait a minute, what happened to my daddy?
Yeah. And they're looking for a daddy figure.
Yes.
And, you know, and when we're bringing men, or the women are bringing men in and out of the home, and it really screws up their mind.
Yes.
And a lot of times the mothers don't know that because they grew up without a father.
Yes.
They don't even realize or recognize what they're missing
Yes.
until it's sometimes too late.
That's right.
And in the process, they are screwing up their own child.
That's right.
Because they don't know.
They don't know
and,
at all.
And this is like a norm not to have a man in the house. And it's not. It's not the way that it should be, and the way that it's designed to be.
Yes.
You know, it's just not. And so I know promiscuity is one of the issues with women, with girls when they are don't have a father in the home, and even for boys, because if a mother has men coming in and out the home, the boy is still going to be seeing that, and he's going to think that his manhood is going to be measured off of how many women he can have.
That's right.
And which is not a real man.
But wait a minute. Let me show you about that. Okay? Let me show you what happened in my mind. I became the female dog. Okay? Because I'm looking for this relationship with a man to be that daddy figure.
Yeah.
But then when I got to it, I didn't want that. I just wanted to be a dog. Okay? You know, remember Bootsy Collins?
Oh,
Bow wow wow,
yeah,
yippee-yo,
yeah,
yippee-yay.
yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
That was me. I was a female dog. And even in the military, guys would ask me to go out on a date. And I said, okay, you pay for yours and I pay for mine. They said, well, why are you like that? I said, so I won't feel obligated to do what you want me to do at the end of the evening. And they look at me like, what is this?
Well, you don't hear too many women say that.
No, you don't.
I'm not going to confess to that. They
And
just
see,
want you pay for it and take your money and walk away.
I didn't want that. I didn't want your diamonds. I didn't want your earring. I didn't want your jewelry. I didn't want any of that. When at the end of the evening, all I wanted was the conquest. Okay, to take you into my, and I'm gonna get graphic. I get very personal. I'm very transparent because this is gonna help somebody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the evening, all I wanted to hear you say was, "Yeah, I want to sleep with you this evening." Okay. Because when we get up in the morning, I don't want to see you anymore.
Okay,
We're
so
done.
what got you to that point? Okay, because I know it was something that had to trigger your mind and say, you know what, I'm just going to be a dog.
Because I found out that my body was what the men wanted. And so I learned to use that for my benefit, not just for their benefit. It was pure and simple as that. You know, and I decided that before I would get emotionally attached to you, I'm just going to take what I wanted.
But you know, and crazy as it sounds, that's a lot of women.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
And it's crazy. I know I dated a girl and man, I was crazy for her. And she has yet. And her thing is the same thing.
Yes.
It's that, and I know she didn't have a dad in her life.
That's right.
And it was just from one guy
To the next. To the next.
And how long that lasts in between.
That's right.
You know,
And you know what?
it just depends.
It was a defense mechanism. Because if I did that to you and to however many...
Before you do it to...
That's right.
Yeah.
My heart's not going to get broken.
Yeah.
My heart's... When Daddy died, that broke my heart.
And you know, I talk a lot sometimes, and I know I was talking to Veronica one night, and we were talking about how men jump from one girl to the next, and how or why they keep multiple girls. And I said, guilty.
Yeah.
And because I used to be the same way, and it wasn't I wasn't gonna give my heart. Once I got hurt, it was like, okay, that's it. So I date you, but as soon as you tick me off,
That's right.
I'm gonna go to somebody
That's
else.
right.
I have a few
That's
back
right.
here in waiting, but. And I'm not trying to say I'm the best looking guy in the world by any means, shape, or form.
Oh, you're pretty cute.
Nah, it just. But I know that that's where I was going,
Yeah.
and I don't know why I was going there because of. I had my dad. Well, my dad died at the same age as
Okay.
your grandfather.
Okay.
But we got to take another break. And when we get back, we're going to talk more about the promiscuity, the relationships that a woman has with the father or without, and what that means. So I know this is going to be a fantastic show. So tell somebody else to join us, because Mrs. Bruno is going to, she's telling it like it is.
Yes.
So stay with us, don't go away, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, and you have just tuned back in to the Father Show, and we're here today with Mrs. Bruno, the drill sergeant of life, and we're talking about the reality of the effectiveness of fatherless homes and what that really means, not just to little boys, but also to young ladies as well, and women. And before we taken a break, we were talking about the promiscuity that women go through, and even boys go through when they don't have a father in their life, because a boy thinks that he's a man when he can have multiple girls.
That's right.
And sleep around with multiple girls, and in reality that's making you less of a man, because you're not a man unless you can control yourself.
That's very true.
So
That's very true.
it's really affects a little boy, and then with a little girl, they're reaching and looking for love,
Yes.
and they don't know what love is, and they think the physical relationship that they have is going to provide them with love, and it isn't. It's not love. And you were saying that that's kind of what you went through.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You was, as you say, you was the dog in a relationship.
I was.
So when the guy thought he was, the dog, you were like, no.
Oh no, baby.
I got this.
Oh no, I'm running this show. And it comes from, I remember as a child, I remember when I was like 4 and 5 years old, when Daddy got up to get ready for work, I would smell the coffee in the kitchen brewing. And I knew that it was time for me to get up, because Daddy was going to pour some coffee into a saucer, and he had already put in the sugar and the cream and stuff, and I could drink coffee from his cup. I would sit on his lap. When he came home from work in the evening, he always had this 5 o'clock shadow, and I would rub my face against that, and that was just a comforting thing for me. When Daddy passed away, I didn't have that anymore. And I was 13 years old now. I didn't have that anymore. It was gone from my life. My grandmother and I, all we did was bump heads. We really did, because I was always with Daddy, and he was gone. And so I didn't have that outlet of talking. I didn't have that outlet of, this man showing me love.
Yeah.
I had to go and find that.
Yeah.
And I did it in all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
I became promiscuous when I was 13 years old. Because I was looking, but all a guy had to tell me was, yeah, I love you. And it lasted long enough for him to get his jollies off and then get up.
Yeah. And we, as men, and I know I was guilty of it, I'm not going to lie, but as men, we know what to say.
Yeah.
We know exactly what to say. And one thing I read one day, and it really made sense, is when a boy is raised by a mother and doesn't have a father in his life, he knows what to say because he knows what to react.
That's right.
What his mother reacted to.
That's right.
So he learns the language
Yes.
of women,
Yes.
and so he knows. I mean,
Yes.
love you.
Yes. I'll do anything for you.
Yeah, it's me and you, girl.
That's right. And so I learned that language from a woman's standpoint. Okay? A guy would say, well, I want to take you out to dinner. Okay, I'm paying for mine though. What do you mean? Oh, you don't need to pay for my dinner because I know exactly what you want after the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I'm going to get that on my terms. See? And so I was a dog.
A man wouldn't know what to say when a woman tells him that.
No, and they didn't.
No.
But I tell you what, I got what I wanted, and then I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
When a guy would come back and look for me after days, you know, say, hey, is this Sergeant Stallworth? Yeah, it's Sergeant Stallworth. What you want? Well, we went out. Who are you? What's your name? What you mean we went out? Well, I wanted to see if I could see you again. Oh,
now, you know you hurting that man's heart. It's tearing the man up. It's messing with his masculinity.
Yes.
Number one.
But it was either him or me.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but I'm going to show you the repercussions of that going forward.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I have been married for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize until about 5 years ago that I was basically tolerating him.
Oh, really?
Okay? Because I'm still waiting for him to break my heart. You see where I'm coming from?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I was just waiting. I was just, tolerating him like, yeah, okay, I love you too, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I love you too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I'd say in the last 5 to maybe 7 years that God had to really deal with my heart and show me the true heart of my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's a lot of women out there right now, Mike, that's going through that same thing. They don't know how to, give me your hand. And Veronica, you know this, my brother. They don't know how to let your hand hold them.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
They don't know how to let your heart wrap itself around them.
Yeah.
Okay? They're holding your hand like this and saying, yeah, I'm just waiting for you to try to break my heart because it's not going to happen today, brother.
Yeah.
You see.
And that's their defense.
Yes.
They're putting up that defense because their dad is not in their life or they left, whatever. It's like, all right, well, ain't nobody else going to do that.
That's right.
And I know when you get smart enough as a young lady, you know what a man is after.
Mm-hmm.
Then you say, okay, well, all right, I give you that, but I'm not going to give you all of me yet.
That's right.
And
That's right.
that whole part is, I'm keeping my heart.
That's right.
I give you the body. You can have, you get satisfied, I get satisfied, and, but I'm not going to give you my heart.
That's right.
Because I know you're going to walk over. But I told some boys in doing the church program at a high school, I actually told the boys the difference between what a woman thinks when she gets with a man compared to what a boy thinks when he's getting with a girl. Because the boy thinks, oh, I'm just going to hit it and quit it and go about your business, just like you were saying. But the girls are like, oh, this is the love of my life. And I met my prince, my knight on the white horse.
Yeah.
And if the guy gets that girl pregnant, he doesn't really know how bad he's got it.
That's right.
Because the court system are behind her.
That's right.
She is, and what they say, you don't know you never want to know a woman scorned.
Oh yes.
The anger.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Oh, that's not a good picture.
No, it's not.
I can tell you.
It really is.
From experience, I can tell you, that's not something you really want to go through.
No.
And especially when society, in a sense, or the court system, the law, is backing her up.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah. And and I have to say this, especially to my sisters out there. If you're giving a man a hard time in court about seeing his children right now, check yourself. Because it's because you have daddy issues that you can't allow that man to be who he wants to be for his children.
Well,
I'm just saying.
And that's the truth. We're going to get to that because most kids that get into drugs are coming from fatherless homes.
Yes.
You got 91% of runaway and homeless kids coming from fatherless homes. So when mothers are looking at, I don't want father to see the kid just because of a spite. They don't understand that this is consequences to that.
That's right.
Because your child is now going to have some issues. I mean, there's the physical and emotional issues. There is the sex, and then you got the addict issue.
Right.
You got, and one thing I was reading about was poverty. Most kids that come from fatherless homes, most of them are going to be in the poor.
Yes.
They're going to stay poor.
Yes.
And you are really messing up that kid. And one thing I speak on is raising whole kids. And you can't raise a whole kid unless both parents are in the home, period. Flat out, I don't care how you slice it. And it's not to say that you have to get along.
That's right.
It's not to say that you got to be best of buds. You do in front of their child.
Absolutely.
Because the child already thinks it's their fault.
Absolutely.
Even though they ain't had nothing to do with the divorce or why y'all not together, but the child automatically thinks it's his or her fault as to why mom and daddy are not together.
That's right. That's very true.
It's irritating, and I want women to understand that you are hurting. You might be hurting the father, but that's a grown man. What you're hurting more is your child.
Yes.
The person that you say you love the most and you'll die for. And most mothers will.
Yes, absolutely.
But you're hurting that child in the long run.
Yeah. And that has to stop, because then you get products like me that is, I'm now at the age of 57 just getting over some stuff that I should have been over a long time ago.
Yeah, I tell you, it is something, and we've got to take another break, but we're going to dive right back into it in a few minutes. But you're watching The Father Show, and if you are a man that needs resources, I would say go to The Father Show Resource Program website at www.thefathershow, R as in resources, P as in program.org, and pick your state and find the resources that you need that can help you maybe deal with some of this, because there's counselors on there, there's attorneys if you need to fight for your kids. But we want you to be in your kids' life. It's important more than you know.
Yes.
But stay with us, don't go away, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, and you have tuned back into The Father Show, and we're here today with Mrs. Beatrice Bruno. I'm not stumbling over that. And we're talking about the effect of our fatherlessness home and what that means really for a young man and for a young lady, and most importantly a young lady, because we have an example right here of that. And her father wasn't in her home. However, her grandfather was, but unfortunately passed away when she was 13, and she didn't have any more role models in her life. So, you know, we touched on the effects of fatherlessness, and, you know, we talk about promiscuity, we talk about the emotional and spiritual problems that they have and the sexual problems that they have, you know, even the crime. You know, most kids won't do half the crime that they do if they had a father in the home. And one thing that makes me think of that is like gangs. Gangs are like a family.
Yes.
They say, come be, you don't have nobody? Oh, come here.
That's right.
We got you, bud.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
We love you.
We're your family.
We're your family now. So, and that's what a lot of times what kids are looking for. They want that love. And mom might be too busy trying to find love on her own.
Yes.
And not taking care of the kids, but also she doesn't know how to really feel love.
That's right.
But also the boy, and now we see a lot of girls in gangs as well.
Oh yeah.
They're looking for that father figure.
Yes.
And who's the head of a gang?
Okay. See, it's
So,
either a male, a strong male, or in the female gangs, it's a strong female, and she
is following that male.
Yes, she is. You see, and so you have to watch that. You have to. It's a total mentality shift that needs to take place in order to get young women to understand their worth.
Yeah.
Okay, in spite of the situation of life.
Yeah.
Okay. I spent 15 years in the Army, and I was still looking for the approval of a male figure. Okay? And this has just dogged me for years.
Yeah.
Till right now, I have finally understood what mindset I had that brought me to this particular point in time. So that now I can submit all that stuff to God and say, okay, God, you need to get my mind focused to the point where I know that God is my father. Okay? Yes, my biological father is still alive.
Yeah.
And we do have a relationship, so to speak, now. But we're still building. because we didn't start the relationship until I was an adult, and it was hard to bring him into my life and to, you know, to mold myself around him as my daddy.
Well, because one, you got to build that trust.
Yes.
You know, he wasn't there for all this
No.
time. Now he wants to come in, and there's a trust issue.
Oh yes.
And it's going to be hard for you to get over
That's right.
that. Okay, is he going to leave?
That's right.
How long is he going to stay this time?
That's right. And see, after talking with my older sister, who he was married to her mom, he was never there for her. And so, yes, you're right. It's hard to build that trust now. You know, he's 80-something years old. I'm 57 years old. And it's like, okay, well, call him every couple of weeks. Hey, Dad, how you doing? Okay, love you. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Love you, bye. Because that's where we've come. But I'm more, I tend more now to pull him into my life. Because he is my biological father. Okay. But I rely more on my heavenly Father. I have to.
Well, you know, and I'm glad you said that, because I look at, when I talk about God and I talk about my relationship with God, it is, I'm like you, that's my Father.
Yes.
And I know, I look at him like, okay, all right, Dad, I know you're doing this because, and you know, and I say, am I weird for thinking that way? But it's like, okay, that's my Father, and I know he's going to punish me. There's consequences for my actions. There are, you know, rewards for good action. If I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do,
That's
he's
right.
like, all right, you don't want, I give it to somebody else.
That's right.
So it is like a real father relationship
It is.
that you have,
Yes.
or you should have.
I talk to him just like I would talk to my
absolutely.
earthly dad.
Yeah.
Because he listens more. He pays attention more to my conversation with him, because he's building that relationship
Oh yeah.
with me.
Oh yeah. When I got mad and I cut off my ties with him, I'm like, I'm not talking to you
Oh yes.
anymore.
Oh yes.
And it was real.
Yes.
It was like, no, I'm not talking. But I really am appreciative of how he stood by me.
Yes. Absolutely.
Even when I was like, I'm not talking to you because I'm pissed off. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm pissed
That's
off.
right.
You
That's
know?
right.
So.
And he listened to that.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's waiting for you to come. He's sitting there like, okay, Michael,
Yeah.
I'm going to wait,
Yeah.
okay, because you'll be back.
Yeah.
And he knows our hearts. He does that with me. Beatrice, I'm going to wait until you calm down a little bit. Okay, but I'm not talking to you right now, okay? I'm just saying, God, I'm mad right now, you know, and he honors that.
Yeah.
Because he knows I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, Lord, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. But you really did make me mad.
Thank you.
You know.
And you know, it's nice that people can have that kind of relationship, because I
Absolutely.
think so many people have gotten into religion, and what they believe God is not really that.
No.
You know,
It's about
not,
relationship.
It's not he's not in a box.
No. No.
And I
absolutely
talk
not.
about, you know, I talk to the kids about don't be in a box.
That's right.
And I talk to adults, don't be in a box.
That's right.
He's not in a box.
That's
You
right.
can't say he's Muslim, or he's Catholic, or he's Protestant.
God.
He is God,
God.
period. Now, we have different ways of worshiping and looking at him, but I don't look at, me personally, I don't look at all the rituals and think that I have to have this ritual to have a relationship with God.
God is all about relationship with each person.
Yeah.
Okay, because see, whoever says that they're saved, they have to have that relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because when you stand before God, it's just you and him.
Yeah.
It's not about this big church that you used to go to that sits over there on the corner of 13th and Parker or whatever. You know, it's about that relationship that you have with God.
Yeah.
Okay, so all that stuff is going to go by the wayside anyway. But you know, I'm finding now that there's 3 things that we need to do in order to build ourselves up. If we have not had a relationship with an earthly father, there's 3 things that we need to do. Number 1, we need to recognize the things that we didn't have before. Recognize it. Go ahead and grieve over it. Get mad. Ran at God and say, why couldn't my dad be in my household? I don't understand, Lord. Why you didn't let me have a daddy?
Yeah.
Go ahead and recognize that. Okay. Number 2, recognize that God wants to have a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He wants to bring you into a covenant relationship so that He is your Father, and you will call Him Abba Father, Daddy, Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize that. And number 3, get over yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back into that stuff anymore. Now you can have that relationship
Let it
with
go.
God and with
Okay,
yourself.
How do you let it go?
How do you let it go?
How do you let it go?
By recognizing all this stuff
Mhm.
and saying, you know what?
Yeah.
I lived it. Okay, but that doesn't define who I am right now. Because the me that I am right now is a completely different person than when I was being a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am Beatrice, God's child now. I am Beatrice, the author. I'm Beatrice, the motivational speaker. I'm Beatrice, the Beatrice that He has created me to be. I've come into that place now.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I had to get over all that stuff.
Yeah. And I know it's hard to get over it, but I want fathers to understand it and really get into the point of being in a child's life.
Yes.
You know, you have to be a part. Even if you're in the home,
Mm-hmm.
and you're one of those fathers that come home and put your hands down your pants and say, you know, give me a beer,
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy, and you don't move, and you're not a part of their life, it's still no good.
Yeah,
You're still raising a less than whole child.
that's right.
So
That's
you
very
have
true.
to be an active member of their life.
Yeah, remember a couple of weeks ago, we met 2 fathers of 1 child that was in our choice program, and they're co-parenting that child. I find that to be the most admirable thing that they can
2
do.
black men.
Yes. They are co-parenting. The father is not in that home. She's in the home with the stepfather.
Yeah.
But they are coming together to bring wholeness to that child. And I mean, she was actually one of the best ones in the choice program.
She's a surgeon.
Yes, she is a surgeon. Pediatric surgeon.
Yeah.
Okay? And so co-parenting, even daddy, if you're not in the household, but you have an ally in a stepfather, work with that stepfather
Absolutely.
to help that child be whole.
As long as that child is not being harmed in any way, shape,
That's
or
right.
form. So, we've got to end the show. I know it came way too soon. How can people get a hold of you if they want you to come speak, or they just need to learn how to get over themselves?
Amen. They can contact me at my website is drillsergeantoflife.com. Or email me, Beatrice at drillsergeantoflife.com. And I take all the emails and I will come and talk to you, help you get over yourself. You can find my books on my website, drillsergeantoflife.com. I've got more books coming out, and so just stay tuned because I'm excited about that stuff.
I tell you, and I'm going to tell you, this is a hard-working lady, and I thank you so much for joining us. Beatrice, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I knew I was going to have a good time. I was excited about this all week. I was like, okay, and I kept on saying, I got to call Beatrice, I got to call because I want to be on the show. And when you said yes, it was like, all right, I'm excited. I love this lady, and she has become a very special part of my life, and I'm so glad that God has blessed me to have her in my life. She's done marvelous things, and I can't wait to see how far this all goes.
Amen.
And the relationship that God has put together. So thank you for joining us this week. Come back next week. We'll have another guest, and maybe Miss Bruno, because we ain't finished talking.
Amen.
Thank
God bless
you.
y'all.
God bless. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.